thanks to Need a Car, this week we catch up with Dan Tyler and his Universal Roadster. Because the best hot rods need a good backstory.
A car is, well, it was part of your family. You know, it wasn't just something that you hopped in like a mode to get to A to B. This car here, you know, it's got the scars, the paint's worn, you know, the upholstery's a bit ripped or whatever. It's telling you a story and you're adding more to it. And I think that cars that are locked up and while it's good to see those cars deserve to be driving around and being used. Yeah, okay, it adds a bit more wear and tear to the vehicle and a few more looks and stuff, but that's just part of it, you know. I think the car has a soul and it's a happy car, you know. You hop in it and it's just cruise along, everything's humming, it's loving life. And I mean, it's sat in a shed for 30, 40 odd years. I think the last place it wants to be is sitting in another shed for another 30 or 40 years, you know. Cars, man, cars. When I was, 4 or 5 years old, my dad had a 38 Deluxe coupe. I always remember that car at the end of the driveway, and I'd run down the driveway and we'd jump in that car and he'd take me to wherever we were going. That just slowly progressed. You know, we were kids, you played with cars, you mucked around with cars, you'd go to the beach in your car, took your girlfriend out on a date in the car, you know what I mean? Like, it was all around cars and it's just never really stopped, you know? 1930 Ford Model A. It was for sale in Maryland in the States. It was pretty cheap and had a bit of a picture there that was a little bit hard to make out and stuff, but I decided to sort of pursue it. The car turned up in New Zealand. It had Hawaiian plates, which was a little bit strange, but didn't take too much notice. It turned out that the car was sold brand new from the Universal Motor Company in Honolulu, which was the Ford dealership of the time. Under the seat, cleaning it, there was a few little receipts from parts and stuff, and that's how I sort of decided to call it the Universal Roadster, you know, and yeah, we just went from there.
But that wouldn't be the last of this near 90-year-old car's connection to Hawaii's Universal Motors. You see, Dan was enlisted for a whirlwind 24-hour Hawaii mission to inspect another hot rod for a mate. Turns out the hot rod wouldn't be the only purchase that day.
He went on to tell me that he had a Scott Blower that was sold brand new from the Universal Motor Company as well, and he had it in the crate sitting in his office, which we sort of thought that was a bit hard case and that, but anyways, a few beers later we went and had a look, and sure enough, here was this Scott Blower sitting in the crate with the Universal tags and all the paperwork with it. We had to have it. It was meant to be. Eh? You believe in fate, that's it, right there.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This Model A is a bit weathered, perhaps missing the mega-dollar finish you might typically find on this TV show. That's not because Dan hasn't got around to it. Nope. As the owner of Rocket Speed Equipment, a Waikato workshop well known for their period-styled builds, this Roadster was built to represent that tale of hot rodding legend, a barn find.
If you're into traditional cars, I guess it's every guy's dream to have that old car that's found in the barn or under the basement, you know, and they pull it out and it's an old hot rod built from the 50s and the interior's in pretty good nick and the paint's not too bad. Been going up and down, you know, to the States and looking around for sort of like the last 15 years and never really came across those cars, and then when this car come up, it seemed the perfect candidate to turn that car into. You know, it's got the original old paint, the car's telling a story, and then hopefully what I've done is just added a bit more to the story and its next progression as an automobile, you know. It's got the flathead, it's got the Scott Blower, it's got the Cadillac transmission, the Hallobrand quick change, you know, it's all those parts that when, you know, you're reading all those stories about all those cars, that's what they had, you know. Pretty cool that you're able to still build that car, those parts are available and you can still do it, you know.
A simpler car for simpler times.
I think the world's too fast. You know, you need to slow down and appreciate what's going on around you. You take an old car for a drive, you know you've driven an old car, you know what I mean? And I think that's just what some people need to do sometimes. I think you just get caught up in the whole rat race of going to work, coming home, you're doing this, you're doing that, everything's 100 mile an hour. And I think with the old cars, it takes you back and it just puts you in check a little bit. It's a bit of a privilege to be able to actually have the car and look after it. Hopefully, when one day whoever ends up with the car, hopefully they look after it and appreciate it as much as what I have and our family have. So, you know, it's cool, man. It's a cool car.